Would you mind coming over here?
Steel yourself. This battle is fun.
Oh, can you hear me, son? Were you about to sleep? I'll be up just for about 30 minutes, maybe 40. I just having trouble sleeping. You know,
This place offers a view of the sea.
I just listened to all these
Eyes if it's possible.
Disney stuff, and yeah, guys, it's all so much fun. Well, let's see.
Follow me, if you would.
Can't wait to actually book the trip. I'm sorry. Say what? What?
Master, my heart knows no greater peace than...
This is most convenient. Another destination we were bound for is not far from here.
We'll make our way there in time. As to whether it will be sooner or later, that is for the Arisen to decide.
Frey, follow me.
Yeah. Okay. So this is why I feel that way. I feel like
Following along, I trust.
um,
Take care.
yeah, I feel like so let me get some clarification. So
Yon path
so
leads straight
Drake
to our destination.
Drake I never expected to win that battle anyway. I, would, I always I always thought Kendrick was going to wipe the floor with him, right? I just didn't know that there was beef between Kendrick and J. Cole, and if J. Cole was just trying to get into the battle, how that's going to go between uh, J. Cole and uh, Kendrick, right? Because I felt like um, it's different when you battling each other. It depends on what you say, because and how well you know the person. Because I don't know how if they're hanging out. I don't know if they know what they know about each other or whatever. I don't know what dirt they have. I always feel like uh, Drake has always come across as fake to me. And the minute he has he used ghostwriters, that's a automatic lose to me. That's why I still don't have a problem with his music because a lot of it I don't even think it's him. I think somebody else wrote the shit and he just delivered it well. I mean, so I listen to I can listen to um, something like Michael Jackson. If Quincy Jones wrote a song for Michael Jackson, I think, well, hey, Michael Jackson didn't write that song, right? But Michael Jackson, if Quincy Jones had actually sung that song, it would sound terrible, right? Michael Jackson just made it So it's a collaboration, right? And that's kind of how I feel about Drake. So Drake is a good deliverer because he's trained. He knows how to deliver music, right? And for this little poppy shit, that's how I call it. It's just to me, it's just like driving in a car. Nice to listen to one song one time, but I'm not putting it on repeat. Like you Kendrick, I'm like play it again. Play it again. But you see me, I'm like play it again. J Cole, I'm like play it again, right? Because you can tell I'm into it. Because it's just the lyrics, the sometimes the beat, sometimes but it's mostly the lyrics. It's like man, he said that shit, man. Yeah, they're clever as hell, man, right? Uh, so, but the other thing with it, in terms of the shit, I mean, I don't really give a fuck. I mean, what, I can care less whether fucking Drake is a fucking deadbeat. Yeah, I don't. Do we really expect all these musicians to be Father of the Year? And probably none of them Father of the Year. You know what I'm saying? I mean, all probably got kids that they don't fucking take care of. Is that supposed to be a surprise? Especially from what you hear about the black community. I mean, a lot of, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's no secret like when you grew up in a black community, a certain point in the black community, it was a black mother who was putting it down, raising a kid, and black father wasn't nowhere to be seen. You know, I mean, I'm not talking about from the vast majority or anything. I'm not trying to make a racist statement, but it's not. It really, just in general with men in general, black, white, whatever. Men are known for being deadbeat. That's the reason why you call them deadbeat fathers. Deadbeat fathers, and that term just didn't come around out of nowhere. I mean, that wasn't no new term. That was just right. So I don't. I think it's great to use in a rap, and especially uh, when it makes you think about, wow, that he used it as a tool in the battle, like goddamn man, and so to degrade him, right? So it's a point. All it is point, 1 point for degrading for saying that, another point for degrading for saying something else, another point for degrading for calling him a pedophile, So the more points that are made on a rap battle, that person wins, right? And so that's how I look at it. It's just points. I mean, whether it's true or not, that's just kind of how you look at it, right? Because that's what Ethan. I mean, Ethan just had so many valid points. Well, I'm not saying valid, but I mean, 'cause like I said, there was somebody who was talking about, do you really know if any of that shit was true? What Nas said? I mean, how do we fucking know that? This is not me saying this, so I'm not taking credit for it. But like, how we know that Nas was in a Karate Kid class? It's like we know he was 35 in the Karate Kid. We don't fucking know that. How do we know that he followed Nas around and just studied his style? How do we fucking know that? Well, we don't know, right? But it was just the way he said it was so powerful because it was a counter against what what I mean how Jay-Z gonna be the king, and he was an apprentice to Nas. How the hell he gonna be the king? Right? He came out with the king of New York shit. Fuck you, Jay-Z. That's kind of how I feel about it, right? So so it's kind of like the whole pedophile thing. It really, I hate pedophiles. I mean, I can't stand the motherfuckers. But I really don't think that was definitive proof that Drake's a pedophile. I think there's smoke where there's smoke, there's fire. I will say that. But you really, really don't have a lot, other than him like kissing that girl on stage at one time. All you have is speculation, right? With that Stranger Things girl, nobody saw anything. Nobody saw, you know, with some other girls, no. It's funny. I do agree it's suspicious. I do agree it's weird that he's hanging around these young girls, but it's also something kind of odd that nobody got anything or no pictures, no fucking, no hanging out on the weekend. Somebody snapped a picture of him. Nobody, I mean, it could have been very clever, but they could on his compound. Like, how you gonna take a picture on his compound if all his boys are not gonna let you, So you just don't know. But at the end of the day, we really don't have any real evidence that he's a pedophile, right? I mean, I'm talking about when you talk about going to court, because if he's a pedophile, he should be in jail, right? Well, what's the evidence? When you go for like real evidence that he's a pedophile equals jail, well, where's that at, right? I think he's a pedophile myself. I'm just saying. I'm thinking where there's smoke, there's fire. I think it's suspicious that he's hanging around these little girls at his old age. I think he's, we all know about that grooming shit, and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, there's no real evidence. We don't see him kissing on no girl. Other than that, well, that was kind of like, it wasn't like no real, it was kind of like it was, the father was in the crowd, apparently. And then there have been other girls who come out and said, "Y'all need to stop that shit." He didn't do that. He was just a decent he was a decent man. He was always decent. So even though they were bringing up all this shit, and even with the stuff about him having a child, they still haven't come up with it. Where's his child at? There was speculation about this girl might be his child, or that girl, whatever, might be his child, whatever. But they really ain't got no real. There wasn't no DNA test, nothing like that, right? So at the end of the day, I feel like since there really isn't no definitive that he's an actual pedophile, then I still think I can listen to his music, right? The minute they find out that there's some real concrete stuff, I'm gonna have to reevaluate things. I'll be like, no, I can't listen to this shit. That's different. Here's the stuff. I say all that about Drake. I think that's easy to evaluate Drake that way and be dismissive of Drake because I've always been dismissive of Drake. I never felt like he was really part of that the world that Kendrick's in. The world that Kendrick's in is this top notch lyricist, this giving us an insight of what the way he grew up in his world and his family and stuff like that, right? All I get from Drake is Drake's like the party and he thinks he's some playboy and shit like that. I don't really take that shit serious. But Kendrick, you listen to it, you get affected by his music because you kind of feel like, man, he really had a rough, but he overcame a lot of that stuff, And I feel the same way about some aspects. For me, I feel the same thing about J. Cole. Like the stuff that he was saying, the lyrics, all that kind of stuff. It wasn't like, it didn't have to be like gangster stuff. It didn't have to be that. But I know what it was like being a poor black man and having a struggle and then had to pay my way to college. I know what that shit's like. In fact, I identify probably more with J. Cole than I did do with Kendrick. Because J. Cole and what he talks about is very similar to how I feel. Like it was kind of like we were poor, but we wasn't like. But we always had money. It was low income money, but there was always food. Times where electricity bill was out, and we had pinto beans like 8 days in a row. But I remember eating very healthy. I remember being strong, not weak. I remember being tired going to school because we got bused across town, so you had to get up early in the fucking morning. But that was just a product of where we were located. It had nothing to really do with that we didn't have. We didn't eat. We always ate. I'll get into grandma and Oklahoma grandpa is, and no matter what, we always ate. I just wish Oklahoma grandpa had been more of a father figure, and really where I remembered it in the impact more, where he tutored, kind of taught us and played with us like the guys. So the boy wants to hang out with his dad, right? There's a point where I remember all like the nurturing part of your grandma, and I remember her whenever I hurt my elbow and felt like crying, she was like, "Oh, you had a boo boo," and stuff like that. But then when I got to the point where I was basically a mini man, you want to hang out with your dad. You want to go, watch football. You want to play ball. You want to talk about it after. You don't want to just sit there and look at it and then go. So it was just that was just never him, right? So I relate to J. Cole in that regard. So here's the problem with J. Cole that I have. It's hard for me because I really believe in J. Cole. I really believe in J. Cole. I really believe J. Cole could compete with Kendrick. I really believe that J. Cole makes his own shit. He ain't doing no ghostwriter. I think that J. Cole, to me, is a real nigga. He's a real nigga, right? That's how I feel about J. Cole, right? And the problem that I have with it is when you go at it a little bit hanging with Drake, when you go in and try to diss Kendrick collaboratively, I don't know how you got soaked into that shit. But the minute you in it, the thing that pissed me off is how could you be fucking with that motherfucker? That's the first thing that hurt his credibility. The second thing is when you got called out on it, he could have like said, fuck both y'all and just came with it, right? And the fact that he didn't do that is so hard for me to, it's just hard, because I'm always going to remember, like, listening to his lyrics, that, he's a powerful lyricist, he's a powerful, you know, uh, you know, and I can't forgive him for coming up with that diss. I mean, he did come up with that diss album. He did do it. And the fact that he back when it really feels like when Kendrick punched him in the mouth, even if you want to say, like, say he did back down, that weak shit he came with, that's what you come with? Because I listened to it. And I'm like, really? Even Drake's Ghostwriters came with an album, but because that one that Drake did, I gotta admit that one that Drake's Ghostwriter did, yeah, that was good. It was good. It was that was the one. Which one? That was the one just before. Uh, Not Like Us. I think it was. Oh yeah. I'm just being honest. I was listening to it and I was like, well, I ain't gonna lie, it's good, but it was like Jay-Z Takeover good. I think not Takeover, but the one with was it Takeover? The one that Jay-Z had just before Ether. Because remember Jay-Z had it, and that was out for like, man, that thing was out like 6 months before Nas responded. Because Nas responded and released it on his birthday. I'll never forget that. But it was 6 months. Everybody was like, "Oh man, Jay Z kicked Nas ass." But then when Nas came out with Ether, but that was months later. But it didn't matter. He came out with it, and it cooked, man. It was to me. It was the greatest one ever, and until this one, And, until and to me, it's the greatest single Ether because it's it's an adjective now, right? That's what it is, or it's even like it's an action verb, right? You ether somebody, it's a verb, or it could be, adjective, verb, noun. Well, it can't be a noun, I don't think, but anyway, it people still saying, even when they contradict themselves, they're like, well, hit them up is the greatest, or no Vaseline is the greatest, whatever. It ethered WA. I mean, that don't make no sense. How can you say no Vaseline is the greatest diss album ever? It ethered. it ethered the other NWA members. I mean, yeah, well, if it ethered it, then wouldn't ether. If you said ether, it wouldn't ether be the greatest? I don't know. That's just me. Maybe it's just for me. Uh, but I'm just serious about that because I I had a very personal. Sometimes you don't even know these guys, but I really felt like I had a very personal connection
If you would prefer
with
I shall guide you another time.
J. Cole.
Is a very
You
good
know,
reason for this
that's what I feel like. I feel like
must respect
listening to him, it was a very like intimate understanding of his life and oh my god, what the fuck is this?
Not an encounter I foresee.
It's a lion with a goat's head on it.
Well,
I never seen it. It's the first time I seen this.
you have my protection.
Yeah,
you'll not live to regret it.
I don't remember. I ain't seen it in a long time.
Victory is at hand. Let us finish this.
Understood.
But anyway, when I'm listening to Drake, I don't give a fuck about Drake. I can like whatever. To me, I listen to Drake and then you find out something terrible about Drake. Like, damn, I ain't listen to him no more. Right? You know. But with J. Cole, it's like Kanye. When Kanye was like, no, Kanye. Come on, man. I'm trying to listen to your music forever. Now you put me in this. You put me in this spot. You know, you you motherfucker. You put me in this spot, man. You know, you see what I'm saying? I mean, I'm trying to listen to this dude because it's just genius shit, man. It's like and it's so authentically black. That's one thing about it. It's so authentically black. You listen to Kanye, and ain't nothing white about Kanye's music. You know, you don't even see him like I mean, other than Katy Perry, I don't even remember him collaborating with anybody white. Right? It's just straight up uh, everything about it. The lyrics, the music, it really felt like very superior music to me. Right? It seemed like years from now, even though he did whatever, we still gonna be listening to Kanye shit. I don't think I even know one Jay Z, maybe one or two that I listen to. But you listen to all these other fuckers like Ti, maybe that's one song, two songs. But really, I'm not really listening to Ti shit. I remember what Ti shit is. I said they were Ludacris, maybe a couple things from Ludacris. I mean, you maybe like I said one or two. Uh, and all these so-called motherfuckers like Snoop Dogg, as cool as iconic as Snoop Dogg is, a lot of this shit is not very memorable to me, right? I'm just saying, right? I mean, when I heard it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely Snoop Dogg. But I don't think I'd be uh, like it just doesn't have the level of substance that Kanye has, right? It is what it is, unfortunately. But it's the same because Kanye's music make you feel a certain way, right? And that's kind of like J. Cole. So that's the disappointment is. Well, how can you just lay over like that and just kind of, why did you bow out? I mean, don't at least stay here for the fight, the continuation of the fight. But no, he bowed the fuck out. It's hard to get over that. I don't care what anybody says. You know, now uh, I still can listen to his shit, but it just has a different ring to it. It don't have the same. Well, man, J. Cole. Because I frankly question his integrity to be hanging around that motherfucking Drake in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Why would you hang around Drake over to go against Kendrick, right? And I understand people got friends, they do whatever. You know, sometimes that's just the way it rolls. That's just the way shit rolls sometimes. Like in real life, like you got people. I was talking to Mila about that. Like, be careful who she becomes friends with. Because one day she was talking about, she said she likes Linda, and I was like, in a general statement, well, you can like whoever you want. There's a lot of people, But sometimes you gotta be careful to make sure you know that you know who they are, right? You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know what the real relationship between they always made it seem like it's good. And apparently the fact that he backed off like that and then he talked about, man, I like Kendrick. I just didn't feel right about saying that whatever, right? You know? And so man, I fuck this guy up fast.
Well met. I can see
What do
you're
you get for this shit?
heavy coin purse. Say, you wouldn't be looking to buy one, would you? Victuals, sweetmeats, none of those strike your fancy. That perks your ears up, eh? Tell you what, I'll even sell it to you for cheap. This stuff isn't easy to come by, and mine's the finest tasting for leagues about.
Oh, should I buy this new liquor for this guy? This guy has this new liquor. It's a rent. It's like 2000 whatever. Yeah.
Leisure doing business. Would you look at that?
Oh yeah, I guess I did.
It's not every day one happens upon a material so rare.
We shall have to think long and hard about what to do with it.
Anyway, so that's what my thoughts are about that whole situation.